Hi. All right, so let's wait for a couple of minutes till everybody fills in. Just tell me when we are good to go. Are you good to start? Start. Let's wait for a couple more minutes. $35. Hi, so I'm going to wait for a couple of more minutes till we hit the 50 mark, and then we begin. All right, cool. So I'll just get greedy and we'll wait till the 75 mark. Hello guys, I'm gonna wait for a couple of more minutes. Hi Nina, I can see you. Hi Shekhar, so nice to see you. I can see Aditi, that's fantastic. Aditi, it's back there. Ashwin's joined us, fantastic. I'm gonna get a little more. I'm just like every other Indian, especially I'm a Gujarati, so I'm gonna wait for another 15 seconds, actually a couple of minutes. I'm gonna see whether we reach the 100 mark, and then we'll begin. Fantastic. So I'm going to quickly introduce myself. My name is Osama bin Laden, and I am here to teach you how to bomb the United States of America. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I am a wannabe stand-up comedian, and somebody wrote done. No, I'm not Osama bin Laden. I am Rishabh, and I am here to teach you a little bit about how we are going to win Best Delegate in the Model UN competitions that we're going to be taking part in. But before I begin, just want to quickly say hi to everybody. So if you could quickly write the name of your school in the comment section, that would be something that would be lovely. If you can introduce yourself and write the name of your school in the comment section, that would be fantastic. Lovely, fantastic. So, sometimes I don't quite follow what I say myself. So just in case you don't understand what I'm saying, and this happens to me 8 out of 10 times. So in case you're not following what I'm saying, you want to put it in the comment section. There are two very nice individuals who are sitting right in front of me who are telling me that I am talking absolutely rubbish. And they are asking me to now go on point. So I will start with what I'm supposed to teach you. But just in case you are unable to, for some reason, understand what I'm saying, please just write in the comment section and we can help you. Lovely. So, these days, Model United Nations and international affairs is thought of to be a very complicated issue. 15 years back, close to 15 years back, when I first picked up Model UN, it was fairly simple and fairly easy. You didn't have all these fancy MUN competitions, and the purpose of MUNing was very simple. I mean, you went to an MUN competition, you saw the best looking girl or guy, you walked up to that person and said, "Will you be my date?" Again, like I said, the purpose back then also, apart from this, was to go and win Best Delegate. And the reason why one would want to win Best Delegate is because A, it obviously helps your CV, and B, there is a lot of bragging rights. So winning Best Delegate back from when Model UN started is something that everybody everywhere wants to do. Now the only problem is that you've got so very many countries in one class. So very many countries. Right, hi. I think I lost you guys somewhere in the middle. Are you guys around? Hi? So that part ended and this part started again. So everybody will need to connect back to this.
No, they just
Give me the phone number. I'll check from my phone also.
just started.
Sorry? Cool, figured. Yeah, hi Rohan, we restarted. The issue is, we restarted already. We're just going to wait for everybody to join back again. Perfect. Yes, this is the one that you should be watching, Gurbani. That one was with my duplicate. I don't know who went on to that account and who started that, but that was a duplicate guy who was hoodwinking all of you on that video. That, I believe, was Osama bin Laden. This myself is Rishabh Shah. I'm just quickly waiting for people to fill on to this this section so that they don't miss out on anything. I don't know whether you guys are laughing at my joke or you guys are laughing at my face. But if you're laughing at the joke that I cracked, I'm very happy. If you're laughing at my face, so be it. Even I'll laugh with you. Right. Tell me once I cross. We can start. So we can start. But I'm just waiting for people to fill in so that there's no issue. Perfect. So what's going on, Rudrapreet, is that we are waiting for a couple of people to join in. We're at 114 who are watching me. I can't believe so many people are looking at me. This is probably the largest audience. This is the largest audience that I've ever addressed. But I'm just waiting for a couple of more delegates to fill in. There are a few more principals who've messaged us that they're just joining. So you have to bear with me for the next minute, and then we will start at dot 5. So we start at dot 5 and we keep a backup phone, so just in case this one dies, then we can disconnect it. Yeah. Devansh, what am I going to talk about today? I'm going to talk about how we can make nuclear weapons, how we can go invade countries, and that's pretty much about it. At the end of it, your parents are going to ask you to shut this in the first 15 minutes of you watching it. Right now we're at 5, so we're fine. Now I'm going to be talking about how to win Best Delegate. How can you, Devansh, go to any MUN conference in the world and win Best Delegate? Lovely, fantastic. So I'm going to begin again. You know, these days people go to a Model UN competition much for the same reason as what I used to go for an MUN competition. And back in the day when I used to MUN, you know, the only reason I used to MUN is so that I would go to the prettiest looking girl and probably get a chance to talk to her for a couple of minutes. The funny part, however, was by the time I reached the girl was no longer there. So, but apart from this, the purpose of being a part of a Model UN competition is so that one picks up and one learns. And some of us who are on today's session are here because you and me both want to learn how to win Best Delegate. Now, I have the benefit of going to a few MUN conferences, so I won't claim to be an expert on Model UN conferencing, but I will tell you exactly how delegates in front of me have gone and won Best Delegate. You see, I've never won a Best Delegate, so I'm probably the wrong guy to tell you how to win a Best Delegate, but I will tell you how others in and around me used to win Best Delegate. The last part was obviously a joke. But let me step back right in, and are you guys able to hear me? You know, sometimes I lose myself in the middle of sentences, so just by writing yes, could you quickly reconfirm that you guys can hear me? I can't see any comments. Perfect, lovely. Now that you guys are following what I'm saying, I'm going to quickly jump to the part which is very important for you. These days, like I originally mentioned, people treat Model UN competitions like some sort of a war. You know, you have training camps that are specifically organized to teach Model UN conferencing. I sometimes find it highly funny that how Model UN, and for that matter international relations and diplomacy, is made to be so complicated in life. I believe it's very simple. And all of you who go to school will kind of agree with me on this. You know, Model UN and school is identical. In school, you always have this one friend of yours who, irrespective of whatever you say, I mean, anything, you could possibly say you're Barack Obama. Tomorrow you turn around and you say, I'm Virat Kohli, and wasn't that the best century ever? And your friend will go like, you know, yes, Farhat, this was the best century ever. Or yes, Paridi, you look exactly like Aishwarya Rai. And you always have that one yes person in your life. Now, in Model UN conferencing as well, there are certain countries, and let's assume for a second that I'm the delegate of India. So, there are certain countries who are always for India, irrespective of whatever happens. So, in a Model UN competition, if India were to say anything, they would go and support India. Then there are a few countries who, irrespective of whatever India says, they will never listen to India. Like say for example, there are certain countries who will say, whatever India wants, we will not give them. Just like in your class, whenever you raise your hand, at that point in time there is going to be this one fellow who is going to say, before you could answer, he will say, whatever you are saying is wrong. And there are those certain countries who are some of our neighboring countries. I won't name any countries, but if anybody wants to quickly guess who are these neighboring countries who always say no to whatever India says. So anybody wants to quickly guess which are the countries who in and around India who say no to anything that India says? Somebody said Pakistan. I didn't name Pakistan, so I'm going to leave it at that. But Pakistan's in another country, is another category. In your class, there's category 1, and that category 1 is your friend who always says yes. And then you've got category 2, your friend who always says no. Then you've got category 3, a friend in school who whatever you do will copy you. So if you say, ma'am, I want to eat food, he will raise his hand and say, ma'am, I want to eat food. If you raise your hand and say, ma'am, I know this answer, he will raise his hand and say, ma'am, I know this answer. If you raise your hand and say, ma'am, I want to use the bathroom, he will even say, ma'am, I actually want to go and use the bathroom. Now, we have a very nice neighbor who does identically the same. Now, can any one of you guess who this identical neighbor is? The one person in your class who copies everything that you do. Everything that you do. Anybody wants to guess which country that is? Now you've got it right. You've got Pakistan absolutely right. But I didn't name Pakistan again. And then you've got a few friends in class. So you've got a few people in class who every single time, irrespective again of whatever you say, imagine you're sitting with your tiffin box along with your friends. They suddenly come up to you and say, I like what you're eating. I want that food. And then they give you a death stare. Now, when you've got such people in and around you, these are the bullies. They are the bullies of Model UN conferencing, or they're the bullies that actually exist in the world, and they're the bullies in your classroom as well. So you have a lot of people who are like that in the real world as well. Now, can you name for me a few countries that whom you think who bully people, who bully other countries? and somebody said the United States of America, I didn't name the United States of America again. You're naming these countries, I'm only giving you examples. So there are one type of people who will always say yes. There is the second type of people who will always say no. There's a third set of people who will copy you every single time. And then there is the fourth set of people who will bully you at any given opportunity. And then you know, and I'm sure you've MUN'd in the past as well. And then you know there is this fifth category of people, and the final category of people, who, whatever you say, let's go play cricket, and they won't give an expression. You say, fine, let's not play cricket, let's play football. Can you guys come and play football? They won't give you an expression. You will ask them, let's not play cricket, let's not play football, let's go singing. And they yet won't give you an expression. These kind of people land up abstaining in every paperwork or every resolution that there is. And you know, that makes the fifth set of countries who are existent but non-existent. And I'm pretty sure that you've experienced all 5 types of delegates in every model UN competition. So, how does this help you win Best Delegate? Very importantly and firstly, if you don't know the type of delegates that are coming to an MUN competition, you are not going to be able to make the most out of it. And some of you who've been to MUN conferences will vouch for the fact that all the delegates you meet more or less fall in these 5 categories. And if you know how to tackle these 5 type of delegates, then you know how to win a model UN competition. So now getting to the point, which is how do you convince delegates who are always yes delegates? That means who always say yes to anything that you say. And you know, it's fairly simple. It's fairly simple to convince those who always say yes. So all that you need to do is you need to go up in committee and you need to give a good speech. If you give a good opening ceremony speech and you know how to speak well and don't speak like the way I speak, then you've got all the people who are saying yes to you, continuing to say yes to anything that you say in council. Now, this might sound foolish, but to be really honest, have you heard of this guy called Barack Obama? Now, Barack Obama had this and has this one skill set, just like our Prime Minister in India, Prime Minister Modi. He has this one skill set, which, when you look at him, when you hear him speak, at that opportunity, and if you've had that opportunity of hearing him speak in person, any of these 2 gentlemen, irrespective of whether you are a no person or of any of the other categories, you will end up saying yes. And this is that one skill set that will make you stand out. In order to win Best Delegate, yes, as ridiculous as it may sound, you need to be a very, very, very good public speaker. And you know, the second you think you're a very good public speaker, I'd want you to compare yourself to President Barack Obama or to Prime Minister Modi and see, am I speaking the way they speak? And if you think, and not only you, but if all your classmates think that yes, he speaks as well as President Obama, then you want to go ahead and move to the second point, which I'm coming to. You know, I mentioned some people who will always say no to you. You know, these few people who, irrespective of whatever you say, will say no. Have you come across delegates like that in your council? Have you come across delegates like that who will always say no, irrespective of whatever you say? Have you met delegates who would, irrespective, and I'll repeat my question, say no just because they are the opposition? I mean, you watch sometimes the Indian Parliament, and this happens in some occasions that some parties just oppose for the sake of opposing. So there are these delegates, and Siddharth Nair says these delegates always say no because they are in the opposition, and that's very true. You know, how do you tackle these delegates? Now, the first point was public speaking. The second point is if you research, and now you will say, before every MUN competition, Rishabh, I go in and research. So, why are you asking me to more specifically, just go and research? Because to convince anybody, to convince somebody, and however difficult they may be, and however static they may be, and whether they fall into the second, third, fourth, or fifth category of a delegate, if your research is not top notch, and if you don't know your topic inside out, then even if Jesus Christ came down and wanted to help you, he would not be able to help you for the simple reason that you would not have researched as adequately. And so many people always ask me this question saying, Rishabh, I've researched 500 pages. Is 500 pages enough? And I ask you, when you write your 11th standard and 12th standard essays, and when you write and when you set papers for students, if you research only 500 pages worth of information, would that be adequate? Alright, we're back again. So would that be adequate? And I'll tell you what, it wouldn't be adequate if you researched only 500 pages. I'll tell you when you should stop researching. When you've landed up getting dark circles just like me. No, I don't have dark circles, it's just bad connection. When you've got dark circles just like me, at that point in time, you want to stop researching. When you are tired of reading the same thing again and again and probably run out of content, it is at that point in time that you want to stop researching. So research as much as possible, and that is your second key point. Now, all of these things, according to you, is something that you already know, and I don't blame you for saying that public speaking and researching is something that we already know. So let me teach you something which you probably may not know. You know, how many of you like the chocolate Lindt? How many of you like the chocolate Lindt? How many of you, and I repeat that question again, and I don't mind saying the name of this chocolate even 100 times, the only thing that would probably happen is I'd have to get up midway and go and get a couple of chocolates for myself. But how many of you like the chocolate Lindt? Wait. Okay, I'm going to repeat that question again, should I? And I shall repeat that question again. How many of you like Cadbury and how many of you like Lindt? Fantastic. You guys love both. Excellent. So I've got a few answers there, and that means you're paying attention to what I'm saying, which is excellent. So lovely. You know, the reason why I asked you this question is something that I seem to have forgotten. But no, I'm just joking. The reason why I asked you this question is because I wanted you to tell me if I could get you a Lindt chocolate for as against the market price of an hypothetical 100 rupees for 1 rupee. If I could get you a Lindt chocolate for 1 rupee, or if I could get you a Cadbury for 1 paise, would you be more than happy to take it? If I got you a Lindt chocolate, for 1 rupee, and if I got you a Cadbury, for 1 paise, would you be more than happy to take it? Are we lagging? All right. Perfect. All right. If it looks shady, then no, it won't look shady. Yeah, the guy who's the current deputy president of IMAN, his name was Hardik Shady Jain. There is nothing. There is absolutely nothing shady about what I'm trying to tell you here. But so I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you how to get a chocolate for 1 rupee. The secret is effective negotiation and arbitration. Now, negotiation and arbitration are big words, are gigantic words. However, they are made to be gigantic and big words. They're not complicated at all. And I'll tell you why. I'm the delegate of India and I am in an MUN competition. And suddenly, you have somebody who comes in front of you and says, Kashmir belongs to me and it does not belong to you. And you try since 1947 to officially make that person understand that Kashmir belongs to India and not to your country. But sometimes you fail. And the reason why you fail and the reason why you're not as successful is because there is sometimes something that's missing. And what is missing? And that is what you need to identify. When a person is selling a Lindt chocolate, and he's a wholesaler in selling Lindt chocolates, or he's a retailer in selling Lindt chocolates, he's got more than one chocolate available, right? So he wants to sell a lot of chocolates. So you know what you can do? You saw how many of you like the chocolate Lindt. Now, how about this? If I took all of you to his shop, I took all of you to his shop, and I made each and every one of you buy a Lindt chocolate from that shopkeeper. And you know, Lindt is a very expensive chocolate. It's more expensive than the common chocolates that are available in India. So the shopkeeper is not used to 100 people coming in or 200 people coming in and buying 200 Lindts at one point in time. So if he had, let's say, 150 or 200 Lindts that were bought from him at one point in time, then if I were to go to him and say, sir, you know, I brought these 200 people to come and have a Lindt chocolate, or to come and buy a Lindt chocolate from you. I gave you sales of X amount. I gave you sales of X amount. Now how about lending me one chocolate? Just one chocolate, because I sold 200 chocolates for you. How about lending me that one chocolate for 1 rupee? Now, however the type of delegate you are, or whatever you might think towards India, but if I successfully manage to get you what you wanted on an international level, will you or will you not then? Because you've got everything else. You've sold your entire stock. Now it's just the last chocolate available. And this guy has helped you. This guy, as in not me, but this guy has actually helped you. Would you not then give that one chocolate at the 1 rupee? Because all your stock has any which way been taken, and it's because of this one individual. Diplomacy is making sure you identify what the other person wants and ensuring that you satiate it or you satisfy it, so that you end up getting what you want. If you manage to do that successfully in a Model UN competition, believe you me, any delegate that you face, irrespective of experience, and even if you face Osama bin Laden, but if you know how to negotiate, and you know how to negotiate well, and you understand what the other person wants, then automatically you will be able to, in 9 out of 10 scenarios, if not 10 out of 10 scenarios, be able to get your Lindt chocolate for that 1 rupee. And now use the same skill set in class and somehow convince your teacher to give you the next 5 days as a vacation. Again, I am just joking. But if you learn negotiation, if you learn how to negotiate, and if you can negotiate really well, and you identify what the other person wants, then in no argument, in any MUN competition, will you ever face a problem. Now, I covered 3 points. The first was public speaking, the second was research, and the third was negotiation. The fourth point that I'm going to be covering, the fourth point, she will not throw you out of school. She will not throw you out of school. She will not throw you out of school if you try this trick. She will definitely throw you out of school even if you make an attempt to try this trick. So don't do what I am telling you to do in terms of your school. Other than that, please make sure that you listen to whatever I'm saying as much as you can pay attention to it. I've already exhausted 30 minutes of your time and I'm going to end in the next 27. So up until then, the fourth point, and up until then, and somebody is reiterating and asking, negotiating is never an option when it comes to powerhouses such as the United States of America while being a minor country. Well, I'll tell you something. I've been the United States of America in a model UN competition. I mean, other than that, I don't think USA would ever want somebody like me in their country. But I've been the United States of America in a model UN competition. And, you know, irrespective of whether you are USA or you are Mozambique or whether you are Lithuania, if you are a small country, remember this one thing. In the General Assembly plenary or in any General Assembly committee or in any committee for that matter, save the Security Council, your vote, my friend, is as important as the vote of the United States of America. And when it comes to negotiating, the United States of America might come to you like the bully in your class and try to bully you. But remember this one thing. Even the United States of America, in order to pass any resolution in the United Nations, any resolution whatsoever, needs a 2/3 majority. And I'll tell you the power of small countries. Being a small country, you have 1, 2, or 3 things that you may or may have not done right or wrong. But being the United States of America, they have 3,000 things which they've done right and 30,000 things that they may have done wrong. Which basically means as Lithuania and as the smaller countries, there's a higher likelihood that you could negotiate better with them by saying, I know what you did last summer. And I will tell everybody what you did last summer unless and until you help me in what I need. And you know, it's a lot of fun. Trust me, it's a lot of fun. Given a choice between the United States of America and a smaller country, I would any day take a smaller country every single given time. But coming back to the more pertinent issue is how do you win Best Delegate? And I covered 3 points. I'm now going to cover the next point, which is very, very important. And that is, you must know how to effectively use the rules that are laid down by the MUN conference that you are attending. Now again, this might sound somewhat foolish and somewhat stupid, but I'll tell you something. There are certain MUN competitions, namely starting with the word H, who use something that's called general speakers list. That means they compartmentalize you into a general category. That means if you want to speak, only then do you get a chance to speak. So some of us don't land up speaking ever. And there are few MUN competitions in the world where it is compulsory to speak, where there is no general speakers list. There is only a speakers list, which makes it mandatory for you to land up speaking. Now this is a small difference between the rules of procedures that are currently accepted worldwide. If you effectively know how to utilize these rules of procedures, both in the MUN conference and afterwards, it will help you It will help you in both ways. Winning best delegate and impressing the cutest boy or the cutest girl in council. For example, there is a provision that's called challenge in an MUN competition called the Indian International Model UN. You can effectively stand up in council and you can debate with another delegate. You can effectively convince another delegate in a bilateral dialogue, that is when two countries talk to each other on a multilateral platform, thereby giving you an opportunity to showcase that you are the best diplomat and not just the best debater in council. Now, if you effectively use challenge, I'll tell you something. Even Mozambique can prove the United States of America wrong, because Abu Ghraib was caused by the United States of America, or so is said. But in a challenge, you can effectively convince all the 5 types of delegates that exist in your class that you are right and they are wrong. But if you didn't know that a challenge exists in a Model UN competition, and you thought that this is a generally compartmentalized speakers list, you would miss out on the opportunity. You would miss out on the opportunity of making an effective point in the Model UN competition. Are you guys understanding what I'm trying to say? Fantastic, lovely. So I'm going to move on to another point that is going to probably help you win best delegates, and this is paperwork. You know, now what's so special about paperwork? And you know, there are certain MUN competitions whom I greatly admire. You know, they expect you to make paperwork before you step inside the classroom. So they expect that you are Nostradamus. They expect that you are Nostradamus and you already know the conclusion. You already know the conclusion of the MUN before it has even begun. But obviously, we cannot dictate what is happening inside the competition. And we cannot preempt it every single point in time. But a good MUNer and a person who is a best delegate will prepare some sort of paperwork. So you will prepare, you'll take this with you, and you will prepare a resolution, not before the MUN competition starts, like it is done in some MUN competitions, but you will prepare a resolution and you will prepare working papers as soon as the speakers list is over or coming to a closure. So as soon as you are done with, say, roughly 50% of your speakers, you then know what they're thinking about committee. And at that point in time, it's most opportune to be preparing your working papers and your resolutions. And imagine when the chair says, I would now urge a motion on the floor for a moderated caucus or an unmoderated caucus. You already have your working paper and resolution ready. And you have it ready not because of the figment of your imagination, which was hypothetical in nature and on the basis of Nostradamus, but because you saw those speakers, you saw them live, you made some sort of paperwork, and then you're presenting it in front of council. Now, these are the 5 things that I taught you which can help you win Best Delegate. But you know, there's one last thing which I need to teach you on how to win Best Delegate. And up until now, have you understood what I have said? Have you understood the 5 methods or the 5 things that you need in order to win Best Delegate? Can you guys understand what I'm saying? Or have you lost me in transit? I just boarded a flight back from Kathmandu to Mumbai, and let me tell you, all those who are watching from Kathmandu, once again, Ma Timilai Maya Gorchu Kathmandu. And I loved absolutely everything about that city. The only problem is I lost my bags in transit. So have you lost me in transit, or can you guys understand and comprehend what I'm saying? And I seem to have reached a dead end. Nobody seems to be responding to me at all, or my internet connection has gone weak. You know, this is the reason why I've told my team not to take a free internet connection. But they continue to insist, saying if you are a Gujarati, even we are Gujaratis, and therefore we will use a Gujaratis network and we will Jio up until the time Jio exists. So, somebody says I'm completely confused. Well, of course, you wouldn't have been less completely confused even if Shashi Tharoor was speaking. Do you know he spoke something which said farrago of expressions? Am I not better? Don't you kind of comprehend what I'm saying? Alright, but jokes apart, coming back to the sixth and absolutely the last point of how do you win Best Delegate. Sixth and the absolutely last way to win Best Delegates, and I'll tell you this. In school, how many of you want to stand for school captain or are already a school captain? By just saying yes, how many of you would want to stand for school captain? How many of you want to stand for school captain? Or how many of you are already a school captain? Quickly. Fantastic. Pankaj is already a school captain. Lovely. Anybody else? I want to, Udgam says. And do we have a few more? Well, yes, I actually am. Arnav Lebron Bhattacharya says. And so one summarization, Swaraj ji may be captain hai. क्या है कि मेरी हिंदी इतनी अच्छी नहीं है, तो आप अंग्रेजी में लिख सकते, हिंदी में लिखिए तो भी कोई दिक्कत नहीं. वंशिका जी, अक्षत जी, fantastic. So all those people who want to be a school captain will kind of agree with me on this one thing. In order to be a captain, you need to convince your school to vote for you. You need to convince your teachers to nominate you. And you need to have the school rally behind you. You need some votes, because at the end of the day, if you don't have votes, you won't become school captain. In the same manner, in committee, if you don't have a majority, then you will not be able to pass the resolution. If you do not have a majority, you will not be able to pass a resolution. And at that point in time, you will wonder, saying, shit, I should have paid a little more attention to the last point. The last point, let me tell you this, is how do you effectively lobby? How do you effectively lobby? In the lobby of the hotel. In the lobby of the hotel that you are in with your delegates, or in the unmoderated caucus, so that you can land up getting more votes in the resolution. I'll tell you how you can effectively lobby. Now, how can you effectively lobby in school? Well, you need to go to your school friends who are your seniors and juniors, and you go and you tell them, saying, you know what, I will give you, if I become school captain, I will give you not a 30-minute recess, but I will give you a 60-minute recess, and I will make sure that there will be a 60-minute recess in school. So all your juniors will say, fantastic, that's one less class of history, and everybody will vote for you. Or you will have to go to your seniors and you will have to tell them, saying, you know, sir, I really look up to you. Sir, I really admire what you've done for our school. Please, sir, please, I am requesting you from the bottom of my heart. Could you please vote for me? You know, this is what you would do. Because you can't go to your senior and say, Abhi, vote karega ki nahi? You can't go and do that, right? So, which is why you will have to go and request that person. So, the usage of giving incentives, the usage of going and requesting, the use of different ways of convincing somebody outside formal debate is called lobbying. And a person who can lobby well is a person who won't just win in the lobby, but who will land up winning best delegate. And then when you land up winning best delegate, and when you finish first in council, at that point in time you can say the sixth method of winning best delegate actually effectively is the best method of winning best delegate. So long story cut short, there are 6 ways. There are 6 ways of winning best delegate, or there are 6 things that you need to keep in mind when you enter committee if you want to win best delegate. But I wanted to tell you one small thing, and I'm going to try to wrap up with that. Best delegate is not the best debater. A best delegate is not a person who shouts at the top of his voice. A best delegate does not wear a fancy Armani and Gucci suit only, but does a little more. A best delegate is not a bully. A best delegate is the best diplomat that you will come across. And the best diplomat is a person who is, at the end of the day, without raising his voice, without yelling and screaming, without creating a brouhaha over every small issue convinces the other person and manages to tell the other person to do exactly what he or she wants to do. And therefore, delegates, remember, it's not important to say the nation wants to know who's right and wrong, because you are not on a TV show at 9 p.m. And I love the guy who does it at 9 p.m. and I'm a huge admirer of the guy. But you are not a debater. Remember, you are a diplomat. And a diplomat is an individual who, without, like I said, raising his voice, somehow manages to convince the other person to do exactly what he or she wanted to do. With that, let me tell you this thing, that today you had come here to learn about what is Best Delegate, or how do you win Best Delegate. And these 6 points are fairly very simple. When you play through the entire video, you will kind of understand that they are very basic, but if implemented, and if implemented to the highest pedigree, will ensure that you win Best Delegate. But to all of you who are watching this video and who will watch it in the future, it's not important to win Best Delegate, because at the end of the day, every participant in a Model UN competition is the best delegate, and every best delegate in a Model UN competition is a participant. On that note, it has been an absolute and a complete privilege to be able to bore you for the last 56 minutes on a free connection provided by a Gujarati. In Ayaman, we always say, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. I hope at the end of this video training session, we've taught you how to fish, and not just given you a single fish. For any questions that you may have, you can contact me on the Facebook link that is just given right below, or write to us on our Facebook page. An absolute and a complete privilege and a pleasure beyond doubt. Indian at heart and international in our mind, on behalf of the Indian International Model United Nations, thank you very, very, very much for tuning in. Jai Hind. Thank you.